Ta-da!
Oh, we're on.
We're welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host, humble host, Marlon Mayhem, Mr. Disruptive, my partner in crime, shotgun seat, J.D. Wilson Jr., aka JD.
I love it. So complicated.
It's very complicated. We're complicated individuals.
So when are you going to pick between one of your two monikers? Or you just third one?
I got four actually up here. You asked me how I was doing. It's Friday, end of the week, end of July, birthday month. And I said I was angered. So we decided let's fire up First World and talk about Marlon's anger today. And I'm going to do it in a civilized way by making a statement.
Okay.
That some of my statements get followed through on, some don't. So people want to call me a hypocrite for that or whatever.
No, such is life.
I don't care. Such is life. But I am making a statement this morning, and this is one that I am. If I were to download the MGM betting app right now, I'm not a gambler, but if I were to download the app, I'd be laying a little coin on this one.
All right.
I have seen this morning on social media, Twitter specifically, that the petulant child intends to make Twitter dark mode only. And when that day happens, I leave the platform.
I wish you would not say that.
When that day happens, I leave the platform. If I fucking want dark mode, I'll turn it on myself. I don't want dark mode.
Duly noted.
And my anger doesn't come from Marlon's personal experience and personal desires and what Marlon wants with his feed, which by all rights, I should be angered about that. But one of my Twitter followers has MS and doesn't view stuff in dark mode because she has MS and it triggers issues. So how fucking insensitive do you have to be? We already know the answer to that.
Yeah.
We already know the answer to that. So my Twitter account, I won't disable it, but it will become inactive on that day.
Is it okay if I don't hold you to this?
Yeah, you cannot hold me to that.
I'm not gonna.
But I'm telling you right now that when they go dark mode only and force me to view their platform in that, I'm not gonna be using their platform anymore.
Apart from the ill manners associated with it, I have had a similar experience. Even though I have no autoimmune diseases, I use the Adobe Creative Suite.
Yeah.
And they have pushed a number of their products over to the dark side. There's no longer a way.
I won't use you. I will not use you.
Well, here's the issue. I try to use it and I can't see it.
You're a better man than me.
Literally cannot see it.
You're a better man than me. And there are certain things. This isn't like YouTube and Sunday Ticket, where initially my reaction, I'm not paying YouTube.
And I didn't hold you to that.
But no one would hold me to that, not even me, because of my love for football. This is different. This is very different. This is you telling me how I'm going to use your platform. And that's where Marlon draws a red line and tells you to fuck off, because I'm not using your platform under any other method than by which I choose to use it. So if you want to test me on this, Tesla boy, go right ahead.
It's a fair statement.
Go right ahead.
You've had a study group or done some type of overarching algorithm that determined that people who aggravate the shit out of him prefer light mode.
Good. I'm glad to be in that group.
Well, one thing I have done over the years is I've mitigated decisions that I make based on what impact I think they'll have on other people. I make fewer of those than I used to. I mean, we all do that in our lives. We do something because we think it'll affect another person. And mostly now, as regards decisions, excluding my precious family, I just make decisions based on how it's going to affect me. So if I didn't use Twitter, it'd be because I can't see it. I probably would not try to send a message to Elon Musk by avoiding it.
I could give a shit about Elon Musk.
Well, hold on. Then what are you so jacked about?
Because that you don't tell me how to use your platform.
That's what he's doing. You're saying you don't give a shit, but then you're saying
I don't give a shit about him. I give a shit.
Just use it irrespective
You're,
of what.
you're confusing the two. I don't give a shit about Elon Musk. I do give a shit that you're trying to tell me how I should use your platform. That I do give a shit about.
Not the same. You don't give a shit about Elon Musk, but you do give a shit about him telling you how to use his platform.
Yes, those are two different things. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. You know that.
Well, you know what?
Don't be difficult for the sake of being
arguments. We've had arguments where I swear to God, there are two different things and you're conflating them. But in my mind, they're two different things. So I need to return the courtesy. If you say they're two different things, I'm just going to go.
Let me be clear.
I'm just going to accept that you
Let me be clear. Elon Musk, the person, I don't give a shit about him. The Twitter social media platform and how I choose to use it, I do care about. And if you're going to force me to use it the way you want me to use it, guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to use your
that sentence. When you say, if you're going to force me, the you in your sentence is Musk.
Yes.
But it's a trifling. I'm splitting hairs. I'm with you no matter what you do. You stay, you go, I support you.
There's no stay. Listen, the day he forces that mode, I will go. The last thing I will do on his platform is go into my profile, which I think I already have there, but I'll make sure. I'll go into my profile and make sure people know that they can find me on Spoutable at Marlon C. And then I'm done.
That's it, people.
That's it. I'm done. You don't dictate to me, dude.
Well,
we are.
I've tried dictating to you. It does not produce a result.
We are in a bad place, man.
Hey, what third rail do you want to touch? I found one I really that spoke to me.
Let's hear it. I want to talk.
Do you have one queued up?
Yeah, well, not queued up, but it's more of a revisit. And I love my fellow resistors. I love my liberals. I love my Democrats.
It's more of a what? Resist?
Resistors.
Resistors. So you have a gripe with your own team.
Yes. And this you will recall, this will ring bells in your head. You will recall that I tried to get a guest to come on to our podcast, and I love her. I'm not going to name her, but I love her. Shout out to her. If she ever watches this podcast, she'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Because I tried to get her to come on and have a discussion. This came up again. This is why I'm bringing this up. And have a discussion around this topic. Someone tweeted this out yesterday. Would you be in favor of no jail time for the orange turd if he never held office again? I should look for my tweet response to that.
Well,
because
I'm assuming you said yes, I would be in favor of no jail.
100%. Yeah. And here's what I need
to be president again. That's all.
Here's what I need my fellow resistors, fellow liberals, fellow libtards, as people call them, Democrats, progressives, whoever you are out there. Here's what I need you to understand on my position, that I agree with that plea deal. That okay, he serves no jail time as long as he never holds office. And with this, we can't take him at
we hate him.
We can't take him at his word. As I told one Twitter responder, I said, look, we have to amend the Constitution. No, I'm not going to take anything out of
Okay,
his.
I'm gonna ask you a favor. That's, you remember just a moment ago, you were arguing that things were two different things. Amending the Constitution and this conversation on Twitter seemed to me to be two separate things. If he reaches a plea deal and agrees not to run, that would be independent.
I don't trust it. Would you trust him?
I would trust that if he reached that agreement, then he would withdraw from the race. Yes.
I do not trust. Come on, JD, don't be stupid. I don't want to call you stupid, but don't be stupid.
Well, you just did.
Yes, okay, I did. There's absolutely no justification to trust anything out of his mouth.
Yeah, but we're talking about the legal system. He would have a legally binding agreement with the Department of Justice, presumably, that he would withdraw from consideration for the presidency for the rest of his natural born life, which, God willing, will be.
Okay, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. And okay, we don't need the amended Constitution if we have a legally binding document that prohibits him from ever being eligible to hold office of POTUS again. I accept that.
And the DOJ, in my estimation, at that point, would have to circumnavigate Georgia, New York. In other words, it would have to be an all-encompassing plea deal with agreement. I'm sure that's what he would look for.
Yes.
He would just
Now
he'd be fucking done. He'd be like, okay, I'm tapping out. It's like a wrestling move where they got you in a chokehold and you're like, I'm tapping out. I'm leaving the ring.
Yes. And I need for my fellow resistors, liberals, progressives, 62% out there to understand why I am so adamant about holding this position. And this is where I get the most animated in having this discussion about would you accept that, right? And I need to look into the camera and I need to make sure that the 62% hear me clearly. He is not going to prison. He's not going to prison. I know what everybody thinks.
Prevailing wisdom is he's not going to prison.
I know what everybody wants. I know what everybody is thinking, especially with the superseding indictment that came out yesterday. I get all of that. He's not going to jail. So the best outcome we can have here is for him to be ruled ineligible ever to hold public office ever again.
Well, in this case, it would not that he be ruled ineligible. He would agree and withdraw.
I need a document. Whether that's an amended Constitution or some document created by the DOJ, I need a binding document that states exactly that, because I do not trust him. How can we trust him? How can we trust anything?
Well, we don't trust him, but irrespective of the vehicle, irrespective of the method, it sounds like we're mutually agreed that if there were, in fact, a way to keep him from running.
Amend the Constitution. That's the best way.
However the hell it happens, we would be all for that. And he would not have to go to jail on my watch. Now, you know what's interesting about this is that one of the things that is problematic. Actually, I want to start in a different place and then I'll come back to the problematic thing. So I was talking to my brother at my great niece's first birthday.
Okay.
And we were having a very pleasant conversation, and he pretty much summarized it when he said, you know, a good friend of mine who was in a position to know told me about 10 years back, he said, Republicans are evil. And I didn't put too much stock in it at the time.
You should have.
But he said, based on what I'm seeing lately, Republicans are traitors. They have absolutely no redeeming value in aggregate with what they're hoping to achieve. And
true statement.
I completely agree with that. But you know what the countervailing problem is? And he looked at me, he said, yeah, libtards. I said, that's so right.
Why are we the countervailing problem?
You cannot draw a straight line between 2 points if you're a libtard. You're like, I need to bring in all these other factors. You need to consider them. I mean, it's
That's
like,
horseshit. That's horseshit.
let me just finish my thought.
I can draw a line. I can draw a straight line between two factors. That's horseshit.
Are you a libtard?
That's what they call me.
You are the, no, you are, I'm going to make my point now. Remember I said I was going to split off and come back. So I'm going to come back to my point.
Okay.
By definition, your opinion makes you the antithesis of a libtard because you are willing to let him walk just to keep him out of office. So you're willing to trade an outcome for punishment and satisfaction on an emotional level. So that means you're an anti-libtard.
Okay.
The point you're making and the argument you're having on Twitter, I presume, is that they're like, oh yeah, he needs to be punished. And it's like, that's a libtard, that is a libtard move. And what's interesting is it doesn't hold water when you look at things that we typically want as a progressive society. We talk incessantly about this idea that we want to help individuals improve their perspectives, improve their lives, improve their opportunities, and redirect their energies to what would be considered generally positive societal contributions.
Behavior and contribution.
Kind of anti-punitive. So it's like, it's a typical libtard problem. We're like, you know, these people were caught on drug charges, but the drug charges were for marijuana and a 9-year sentence is inappropriate. If you incarcerate them, it should be a short period of time. Our recommendation would be some other measure because it's excessively punitive to put them in jail for possession of marijuana. So all these things are changing slowly, but that same type of mindset could be applied here. So a libtard would stop being a libtard if they said, I'm not going to focus on the punishment to satisfy my Puritan desire for an eye for an eye. I'm just going to focus on the outcome and devote my energies to getting that outcome. So to me, that's what a libtard is. Now, I think everything you're saying makes perfect sense. And I would agree with you. If
It's the only solution.
If he agrees to withdraw from the presidential race, just throw him back in the water. Let him go.
He's never going to agree to that.
Well,
unless it's part of the plea deal officially documented that as part of that deal, he is now deemed ineligible to run and hold public office.
Well, here's what would happen. There would be only one downside to that, and it would be the next decade talking about how the Democrats engaged in and succeeded in their witch hunt.
I don't give a fuck about that.
Oh,
I don't give a fuck about that.
I'm just saying that's the only.
When that comes up, when that word phrase comes up, I close the door on you and I tell you to move on to the next.
But what it would reveal is that we really hate this guy and we want him to be.
No. This is about one thing and one thing only. Holding an individual, granted a former president piece of shit individual, accountable to the rule of law. That's it. That's what this is about.
I can interpret it that way. Moxnick's a literally completely.
That's what this is about.
I just don't want him to run again.
I don't ever want him anywhere near public office. POTUS or down.
Run. He no longer he withdraws from consideration for public office.
Which the only way he will do is part of the plea deal to avoid prison. He has to believe. See, the problem with this,
and so we would not have the satisfaction of seeing him go to prison, that motherfucker.
The problem with this, and this is why I defer back to Constitution Amendment, because
one thing we can't get. That makes no sense.
He knows he's not going to prison. He knows this.
Okay, we've established that. What are we talking about now? Since we're all agreed.
But you're saying you're expecting him to accept a plea deal to avoid that. He knows he's not going. So why would he accept that plea deal?
This is a totally separate conversation. You're talking about around his legal team and his legal defense and whether he would in fact accept a plea deal, which is totally different mechanistic discussion. The original, as I understood it, was you were saying libtards were so intent on having him punished that they wouldn't entertain the benefits of having him withdraw from the race in exchange for a plea deal. So that's all I was agreeing with you on as regards to the mechanics or the decision tree that he would go down. Am I or am I not being incarcerated? That part I don't know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
And
you know it because you know him. You know as well as I do, sitting here on this fucking podcast, he's never been held accountable to anything he's done in his life. I don't
care if he's held accountable if he's gone.
How are we going to get him gone?
I thought that was this whole concept, the concept that he would.
Why would I'll ask the question? I'll ask the question slowly again so you can interpret it. Why would he accept a plea deal knowing he's not going to go to jail?
I guess he wouldn't, by your logic.
Constitution Amendment.
But I'm saying if he did, I'd be okay with it. That's all.
But he's not.
Okay. You know, well, let me know when we're at the end of this particular.
Would you agree? Would you agree?
Yes.
He operates in the manner in which he knows he's not. We can look at the classified documents as Exhibit A on that.
Yes, I would agree with that. There is literally nothing you can say that I wouldn't agree with. We're completely in agreement. I'm just talking about mechanics and things of that nature. That's all. We're kind of on different tangents of the same subject, but philosophically, we're agreed.
Philosophically, we're agreed, but this is why I defer back to Constitution Amendment.
The one thing you can't.
He's never going to accept a plea deal knowing he's never going to go to prison.
Okay, accepted. I've accepted that I accept your premise.
So that's why we need the Constitution Amendment. We need to change the Constitution.
We cannot have a constitutional amendment before the 2024 election.
Why not? Why not?
The Republicans hold the House.
And
that's a factor. Let's check and see what are the conditions surrounding a I'm going to ask, how do we get a new amendment? Oops. Unable to type, our hero. Okay, here's what I'm asking. I'm going to inquire. Oh, he wants me to sign in.
Yeah, I had to do that. I did it again this morning.
What
and you know how much I hate that.
What?
I accidentally closed my tab, Chrome tab.
Bum, 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 bum.
You know, I hate doing that.
My tab closed.
So now I only have 3, 6, 9. I only have 10 tabs open. Disgusting.
We don't even know what your maximum tab number is. Okay. What is required to
amend the Constitution?
Very good wording. I'm going to say the U.S. Constitution.
You are welcome, Dennis. 272.
Who's Dennis 272? Now, what we're checking to see if I know what I'm doing. All right, so here we go. Hold on. The process for amending the United States Constitution is outlined in Article 5 of the Constitution. There are two ways to propose an amendment. By Congress, a 2/3 vote in both the House of Representatives and the Senate is required to propose an amendment.
Why can't that be done before the 2024 election?
Because the Republicans are in the House of Representatives.
There you go.
You're agreeing with me?
There you go.
It can't happen. You cannot get your Constitution.
No, it can happen. They won't allow it to happen, and we know why.
You're in an interesting mood today.
Are you telling me they can't take a vote on this before November of 2024?
I'm telling you it's not going to happen.
I know you're saying it's not going to happen. I'm asking you, can they do it?
Yes.
Is it possible?
It's theoretically possible.
Is it feasible?
It's not going to happen.
Is it feasible?
No, feasible is different than possible.
Is it possible?
Possible is 0 or 1. So it is a 1. Yes, it is possible.
Both bodies of Congress could march in there in the next 60 fucking minutes and take a vote if they wanted to.
They sure could, but you're not going to get 2/3 of either
And we know why.
chamber. Yes, we do know why, but as a practical matter, the end result is it's not going to happen before the 2024 election. I don't think I feel like this is a simple. I know this subject frustrates the fuck out of you, and deservedly so, because the same people who are creating all the trouble control the levers.
Yep.
Be the change you want to see. Semicolon. Be the majority. That's literally all we got.
Yep.
You know, let me know when we're done with this, because I wanted to.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. It's very simple to me, and I've been clear about this from day one.
All right. So here's
because if we don't, I'll put a bow on it this way. If we don't do this,
we won't do it.
If we do not do this,
when we don't do this,
we are going to have to deal with this in 24, in 28, and in 32.
Yeah, I think by then he'll probably tap out.
I hope so.
Dude, that dude is some kind of motherfucking sick. He is not well.
He's not.
I would be surprised if he is still ambulatory a decade.
He is not well enough for me.
Well,
but if we don't do, if we don't address this,
we
don't address this right now, right here, right now in the moment.
We aren't going to address this right here, right now, so we can see it in 2024. We're going to see it in 2026. He'll be there for the midterms.
Unless
see him in 2028. What's that?
Unless
what?
We address this.
We're not going to. What? Why would we have it? That would be like, Marlon, when you become a starting quarterback in the NFL and I'm the new point guard for the Boston Celtics, let's meet at Popeyes and get a chicken sandwich. I mean, it's the same type of, it just ain't going to happen.
Why is it not going to happen?
There will be no constitutional amendment between now and 2020.
Okay, fine. Then a plea deal that stipulates he's ineligible. We need one of two. We need one of two. We need one of two. And the simplest path, hear me out, the simplest path is a plea deal that he has to honor. We know he won't honor it, but we have documentation that whether he agrees with it or not, the end result of that notarized official documentation is that he is ineligible to hold public office.
That's more feasible.
The only other option is the constitutional amendment, which you say is not going to, which you say is not going to happen. So we need one of the two.
We want one of the two. It's unlikely.
Long term, we should have constitutional amendment because convicted felons should not be eligible to hold office of the president in this country.
We're completely agreed. We are completely.
That's long term. But in the short term, I am totally on board. This is why I wanted to have my friend from Twitter who said, no, I'm not on board that. I want him to go to jail. He's not going to jail. You know that. I know that.
I want him to go to jail, but I'm not going to argue with you.
He's not going to go to jail.
I'm not going to argue that he is. I can want him to go and recognize that he probably won't. I can
not probably
at the same time.
Not probably. He is not going to prison. He's not going to prison.
I don't know that.
I do.
I think it's a low probability because you've got possibility. Possibility is 0 or 1. 0 or 1. It's either possible or it's not possible. So it's possible. And then you have probability, and probability is a 0 to 100. And the probability is low. It's single digit. It's probably like 5%. So 1, it's possible. Low probability, however. Well, you're saying it's 0 probability. The only way for it to be 0 probability is if it was 0 possibility. They're two different, fundamentally different things.
Ding, ding, ding. He's not going to jail. I am as sure about this. Here's something for you. I am as sure about him not going to prison as I was that he wasn't going to become president of the United States. So I hope I'm fucking proved wrong.
Well, those are all fine statements. I did not have 100% confidence he would not be the president when Biden was elected. I was greatly.
I did.
I did not know that.
I thought better of America than that, and I was proven wrong.
Well, I think that there were severe miscalculations, and can we actually, I'm going to ask you one, well, no, I'll ask you as many times as necessary. Are we done with this topic?
We're done with this topic.
Okay. I want to bring in a third rail.
Bring it in.
And you magically segued into it.
Perfect.
I thank you for that. What you said was you knew that Biden was going to win. And I countered that with, I didn't disagree with you. I didn't say you, Marlon, didn't know Biden was going to win. I'm not commenting on what you do or do not know. And when or you do or do not know.
We're talking about Biden over
about
Hillary.
We're
talking about Biden versus Hillary, right? You're talking about 2020 versus 2016.
No, 2022. 2022. You said you knew Biden was going to win. I did not know. Or were you talking about 2024? You know Biden's going to win in 2024.
No. What I said was, I'm as confident that he is not going to prison as I was that he wasn't going to get elected. And I hope that they
2022.
2020. He got elected in 20.
Oh my God, time is flying. Forgive me.
I know.
Thank you for
and I got proven wrong because he got elected, and it wasn't a miscalculation.
No, wait a second. You just blew my mind. He wasn't elected president in 2020. He was elected president in 2016.
He beat Hillary in 2016. He lost to Biden in 2020.
We mutually agreed in our historical facts.
Right. So in 2016, I was 100% certain that he wasn't going to be elected president because I thought better of America, and I was proven wrong.
I just caught up to you. I completely misinterpreted what you were saying. I inverted it and put it in the wrong time slot.
That's okay.
That's what friends do.
So as confident as I was that he wasn't going to be elected, I am that confident that he is not going to prison. He's never been held accountable for anything he's done.
With the probable same outcome, which is you were wrong about him being elected, and you'd probably be wrong about him going to prison.
I'm not going to be wrong about him going to prison.
He's not going to prison.
Prove me wrong, and I'll be happy.
You have a higher probability of being right about him not going to prison than you were in 2016. I don't know any of these things. I know nothing about the future.
I thought better of America in 2016. I really did. But
now you may recall.
Here's the benefit. Here's the benefit of 2016. Exposition.
Okay. Oh. Well,
exposition. And by exposition, I mean people in my circle that I consider to be very smart and educated and well-informed were the opposite of that. Because I had people in my circle who were telling me in 2016, oh, Marlon, just wait till it all comes out on the email server. You'll see. We're in 2023, and the actual ex-POTUS is the one who is destroying servers.
All right, you just opened up a whole new thing, but I've been waiting patiently to take advantage of your segue. May I?
Go.
Mother, may I take advantage of this segue to go on to some other thing?
You may.
Okay, the second segue was the word exposition, which you know I'm very fond of. I'm fond of entitlement.
I know you are.
Fond of exposition. Blah, blah.
I know you are.
So, I have talked in the past about this concept of sympathizers, and what I've tried to articulate without being too strident is that as a white person, I believe I can see into the hearts and minds of my people. That seems like a fair statement, right?
I
Don't argue with me. Just that's just,
no. I'll give you that.
I feel like I can see into the minds of.
Here's why I struggle with that a little bit, and then I'll let you. Here's why I struggle with that. I can't see into the minds of people like Theo Terrell and what's the other clown, Byron Donalds. I can't see into their mind. They're black people, and I don't know what the hell's in their brain.
Oh, that's fair.
But you're different, so you have a glimpse into the mind of your people. Continue.
I feel a kinship. I can completely disagree with a white person as they pull their stunts, but I can feel a kinship, and I'm like, I know where that's coming from. I know why you're doing it. I disagree, and I wish you would stop, but I understand the motivation. I understand the underlying program.
Racism.
I'm very comfortable with racism. But
what is the underlying current then? If it's not that, what is it?
Entitlement. I call it entitlement. Now, this that I want to show you, I'm actually going to share my screen, which is always fun. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is a proceeding from
Go for it.
The House of Representatives.
Go for it.
And it has a Democrat. It has a Marjorie Taylor Greene in it. This is courtesy of Ben Meiselas and the Midas Touch. It's from C-SPAN, but they had it on their webcast. And I'm not interested. I'm not primarily interested in the Democrat. I'm not primarily interested in Marjorie Taylor Greene, although they appear to be the protagonists, the most important characters. The character I'm interested in is the white dude. And what the white dude is going to do is he's going to do the thing that I recognize, the thing that I have seen,
okay,
the thing that makes white people so fucking dangerous, because we go to decorum and civility.
Yeah, I saw this.
Oh, you did? Well, you don't even know what I'm going to show, but you're probably going to recognize it. So here
I know all about this. Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen.
I know what you're going to show.
Okay, well, that's cool. I mean, I would not be surprised if you know exactly what I'm going to show.
I do. Yep.
All right, so here we go. I now need to go to this screen.
And this person, of course, sits on this very committee, who just actually gave some very irresponsible facts to our witnesses in the committee as well. But just like RFK and other conspiracy theorists, members of this committee continue to attack vaccines. Vaccines save lives. The pandemic cost us 1.3+ million Americans. It's the single largest, most devastating loss of life event that we've had in the modern era.
Mr. Chairman.
It's the most significant loss of life we've had in modern history.
Just please pause.
I'd like to make a point of order and ask the members to be reminded of the rules of decorum, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sure. What rules are those?
The gentleman from California will suspend. The issues we are debating are important. Members feel deeply about them.
I just stopped sharing because the Democrat and the Republican representatives, all they're doing is they're setting this up. And now you hear the dulcet tones of the white male. And the white male will say, members feel deeply about them. And he will then go on to be the force that is the problem. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a manifestation of their traitorous evil.
Yes, she is.
She is exposition personified. If you want to see what concentrated stupidity, evil, it's right there with her. But she's not actually the overarching problem. The overarching problem is this white dude this senior statesman.
Yep.
And what he's going to do now is he's going to neutralize everything. He's going to neutralize everything. And I'm going to come back from this with what I think is an important corner that we all need to turn. So I'm going to share my screen again and continue playing this.
All right.
You do? Everyone here does. Everyone. While vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum in debate. It is a violation of House rules and the rules of this committee to engage in personalities regarding other members or to question the motives of a colleague. Remarks of that type are not permitted by the rules and are not in keeping with the best tradition of our committee. Chair will enforce these rules of decorum at all times and urges all members to be mindful of their remarks.
Mr. Chairman, what rule?
That is what I know in my heart. That's what I see when I look at my people. We architected this system. We wrote the Constitution, and one of the reasons a lot of stuff is missing is because we couldn't imagine Black people or people of color having any responsibility. We couldn't imagine women having any responsibility. In other words, what you're looking at is you're looking at the underpinning of entitlement and supremacy, which is, did you just step out of line? Let me remind you about decorum. And decorum is a Latin word for hold still while I choke you. And what we have done is we have used this for centuries. You want to protest? Lock them up. We are civilized, but our civility masks powerful, aggressive, destructive, traitorous, selfish behaviors. He's saying you don't impugn somebody's motives. And what I'm beginning to see is that if you're on the street and somebody walks up to you and they're a white dude, so a white woman will understand this. She'll be like, I see a Black man coming, so I am immediately, I'm going to be on my guard. If you see a white dude walking towards you, you should be on your guard and you should suspect his motherfucking motives, because we are wired to systemically dominate and control situations, whether it's women, people of color, money, real estate, pick your poison.
Climate.
The day I was born 60 odd years ago, I was dictating what happened in my environment. What I said was unquestioned. You're like, what do you mean? You personally? No, not me personally. But nobody questioned my right to hold an opinion or to have an opinion or to do a thing. Nobody questioned it. And I question it when somebody who doesn't look like me is actually has the unmitigated gall to say something. And this is the way I realign everything. I say, well, we're living in a civilized society, and by raising your voice, you are exhibiting primitive behaviors, which, you know, are unacceptable here with these rules of the House, which are basically, we will call you on it and we will remain in control and we will shut you the fuck down using this method. And that's why that guy confronting the other Republican member in the hallways of Congress was so powerful. That's why it was on TikTok and YouTube and streamed everywhere. It's because the guy was raising his voice, right? Yep. That's why those people down in Tennessee, they were kicked out. It's like, you know, you're going against decorum, which is where you're not holding still while I choke the life out of you. That's all this is. And this is what I talk about when I talk about my white people. So I don't know that this guy's going to go out and he's going to take a parking space from a handicapped person. I don't know that. I don't know that he's going to go steal money from people of color. I don't know that. But I know what his tendencies are, and his tendencies are to maintain order, and order looks like him. And this is the sympathizers in my people who are creating all of the friction to make any progress. They don't come out and aggressively attack people. They do it silently, and they do it by decorum. They do it through rules governing loans. They do it through rules governing access to healthcare. They do it through rules governing when you can vote. They do it through rules governing how your district is laid out. All of these methods are fair game when you are a white dude and you are trying to maintain decorum and maintain order, which is in accordance with the good old 1950s, because, hey, it worked then. Clearly, that was the answer. So I consider him the problem, not the Democratic guy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a known quantity. He is the problem. His role is the problem. Be the change you want to see, be the majority. Somebody else has to be sitting in that chair beside that kind of dude.
Agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. Now, my key takeaway from that, Marlon Taylor could never be in Congress.
If
Never.
you were in charge, it would be different. It's only a problem if you're
Not
not.
even, no, not, I'm not even talking about being
If
in
you were
charge.
sitting in that chair, you would.
Because, no, not
Marjorie
even,
Taylor Greene.
not even sitting in that chair. I
you
could
were
not
out
be
of
a,
order.
I could not be a member of Congress because my response to what he just said would have gotten me kicked out of that session.
Well, that may be true. I'm not going to argue.
No, it's not maybe true. It would be true.
But if
Because you
were
have the
in
mitigated gall.
that chair, you would not be kicked out because
You have the mitigated gall to talk.
that's where entitlement comes in. We
You
are
have-
dictating the rules.
You have the mitigated gall
Me
to
personally?
talk. No, him.
Oh,
To
okay.
talk to me about decorum when the DC pipe bomber is showing dick pics on the floor of this body of
For
Congress.
the group assembled, which is nobody, but DC pipe bomber is Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're
Yes,
convinced
yes.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We all know who the DC pipe bomber is. And she, was that decorum when she was showing Hunter Biden
No,
dick
but
pics?
that's what I'm saying. This is the behavior that you get from my people. My people maintain.
Well, your people,
background through decorum, and decorum in Latin means hold still while I choke the life out of you. That's what decorum means.
your people need to go.
Complete agreement.
Your people need to go, man.
Or at least we need to represent only the percentage of the population that we are. The problem is
That's the problem.
disproportionate representation
Yep,
through manipulation of the system.
yep.
We make the rules, we define the rules, and it gives us disproportionate power.
Yep, yep.
Is the whole concept behind a permanent white majority. If you leave white people alone, you will wake up next morning with a permanent white majority. And you'd be like, I thought we were friends. And they'd be like, well, we know what's best. It's called manifest destiny. It's been going on forever. This is literally as old as dominance. The winners rewrite history, and everything is set up because of the way the Industrial Revolution.
More and more, my campaign.
Actually, it starts before the Industrial Revolution. It goes
More and more, my campaign.
cold weather, as you know.
More and more, my campaign vision seems to be the way we should go.
Okay, what is your campaign vision?
Wall these fuckers off and leave them to themselves.
Whenever you cite a solution that is unachievable, you lose altitude. It's like, I'd love to talk to you, Marlon, but we're not talking about the real world anymore.
Give me a better solution.
That's just an opinion.
Give me a better solution.
You want to see be the majority. How do you become the majority? And how do you get a person of color, or a person at least who's not a motherfucking bigot?
We're never going to repair the damage done. Never.
All right, so I have a
So
challenge.
they have to die off, or we wall them off.
Those are all solutions that cannot be implemented. This guy,
Dying off can't be
he is the
implemented.
chairman of some committee.
Dying off can't be.
Hold on, I'll guarantee you that a Democrat has sat in that chair and that Democrats were in the majority at one point on whatever the fuck committee that is,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So the question has to be, when Democrats are in the majority, why can't they fix things? Why can't they fix them in such a fashion that they survive longer than their own term? It's because white people, in other words, the thing that was in common with the last chairman is probably another white dude.
Yep.
And he's big on decorum, and he's big on maintaining order, and he's big on maintaining continuity. And he may have been a Democrat, and he may be progressive in some respects, but he is going to have this inner clock that keeps dragging us backward and ensuring that things don't move too quickly. This is a tendency that I know in my people. I know this. We don't want shit to change. This is why we have so much trouble with the Bud Light thing. We don't.
You are talking
not
about.
against transvestites, but we don't want to know
You
about
are talking about an older generation of white people that is in the minority.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. But we control the levers of power, so we have disproportionate.
Currently,
As an example, so he is the problem. It's not
right.
Marjorie Taylor
But
Greene.
that is a minority.
Say again.
That is a minority.
White people are not the minority yet.
Older generation of white people that are in power and in that seat are the minority.
There
is a young generation
in Congress.
There is a young generation
in the normal distribution. Yes.
There is a young generation of white people who are coming up who do not believe that, who do not think like that, and who want to fast track change in a number of aspects. First,
those are the young white people that let you down in 2016.
Because they were uneducated, uninformed, and believed the bullshit. They did not believe the bullshit in 2020. I don't believe they're going to believe the bullshit in 2024. There is a minority that still does. But the
anyway,
vast...
What I wanted to bring up, unrelated to this is kind of a different tangent. I thought he was the poster child for why people like Marjorie Taylor Greene they keep showing up on C-SPAN, they keep showing up in social media. They're not shut down, and it's because they're aided and abetted by these fuckers.
Yes, 100%.
Who have the unmitigated gall, using your phrase, the unmitigated gall
to talk about decorum.
To the Democrat who is reading what the Republican wrote, the same Republican who was showing dick pics in committee last week. So it's the unmitigated gall. So maybe that's what decorum is Latin for. Decorum is Latin for unmitigated gall.
You know, something that I've been trying, and I agree for the record with 100% of what you said. You know, something that I am tracking while we've had this conversation?
What?
I expect by the time we conclude this podcast, I might be trending.
Oh, really? Really? What did you do?
A lot of people are liking my comment. I do not have MS. And if they switch to dark mode only, I am done. Done with this platform. And I agree. How insensitive to people like you, Victoria, my Twitter friend, who do have MS. This platform has truly gone to curse emoji.
It's gone.
I'm done. I am done. And I didn't ever think I would say that about Twitter.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that
he's going to force this change, just like he forced.
They're going to have to dismantle Amazon before they dismantle X.
He is going to force this change, just like he forced the logo change.
He didn't force it.
Yeah, he did.
No, he just did it. He owns the company. That's not called forcing something. He just did it.
He's forcing his users to accept what he wants.
Fair, but he didn't exert any effort. I mean, that's the important thing. It's not like he forced anything. He's like,
Well, I'm not going to exert any effort becoming inactive on his platform. I'm just not going to use it.
I've never exerted effort on Twitter, so I can't qualify.
I'm just not going to use it. And that's going to hurt
I
me.
have never seen the benefit of Twitter after a point.
I like the virtual friendships that I've created on
I mean, if
on
you
that
take
platform.
Facebook, if you take Twitter and their
I'm
original,
not talking about Facebook, even though I have
even Facebook originally, they were hoping.
yeah,
They were hoping for some positive aspects. They were
Yeah.
hoping for positive societal change.
I blame them for 2016 just as much as I
Why we
blame.
can't have nice things.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And it's sad because there are people on Twitter I love. You know that. I talk about them. I give shout outs about them.
Yeah, that's a positive aspect.
There are people on that platform that I love. And one of the tweets that I've gotten just as many likes and attention on this morning is to the Raider fan who's a tremendous advocate almost daily for asking for the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame committee to right this wrong. And that wrong is the admission of Lester Hayes, defensive back for the Raiders, and Amy Trask, one of my best Twitter associates, into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I said this morning, you have my full support on both, because both are worthy, both are deserving, and both should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, especially Amy with her contributions as a female.
I have nothing to add or subtract from it.
And it's those kinds of exchanges. And Amy did this a couple of weeks ago where we were in disagreement about something. And she said, Marlon, I hope people are watching this exchange because we disagree and we're having a discussion in a very civilized manner in our disagreement. We still have love. Hey, where did I go? We still have love for one another. And I wish
You know
people
what?
would.
You were being civilized. You're out of here.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Elon Musk,
There's no place for that.
Mr. Elon Musk, I hope you're listening to this podcast. You can take your X, you can take your dark mode, and you can shove them both up your ass.
You know, when Twitter goes dark, I won't know. Actually, I'll know when you're like, hey, Twitter went dark, and then I'll know, but I won't
Then
know.
all of my activity will be over on Spoutable.
Well, what's the other one? Threads? I think I signed up for Threads, but I've never been to.
That's Facebook, right? I'm done with Facebook. I was done with Facebook in 2016. The only reason I am active on that platform is for that's my birthday alarm clock.
You know, I'm more done than you are because I never started on any of them. What I did is, as they came out, I reserved my name. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. Facebook is my birthday alarm clock.
I even had my name on MySpace.
Oh, God.
I didn't do anything, but I was like,
God.
and actually I was pretty good. I managed to get my name on everything most of the time, but then eventually there were places where I couldn't get it in the way that I liked it.
Well, I'm going to miss it.
I mean, I don't care. It doesn't mean.
I'm going to miss it. And for me, this is going to be simple. I know you think it's going to be challenging for me, but for me, this will be
I don't
simple.
want you to leave Twitter. I like you on Twitter.
The day it goes dark, I will just pretend as if I have been suspended indefinitely.
And I'm not going to hold you to that.
I'm suspended as long as it's
I
dark.
want you on Twitter. I think you're a positive force on Twitter.
I tried to be.
Twitter is.
I tried to be. I cussed somebody out this morning.
Well, if you have people who are liking what you're saying, then obviously you're reaching somebody, and even if it's just for a nanosecond.
A nanosecond.
I've never reached anybody anywhere at any time on any subject. So power.
That sounds like my sales career. I've never sold anything to anybody for any
You mean to
reason.
sell- Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, you do it. The what?
That was it. I've never sold anything to anybody for any reason at any time,
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Who, what, where, when, why?
Oh my God.
I mean, how the hell?
I'm so glad
Life.
I'm so glad the weekend is here, man. It gives me a chance to disengage, regroup, because I'm going to need to regroup behind that. I know everybody's like, oh, superseding indictment, but you got to let that go. You got to let it go.
I tell you what, we're gonna have more on the superseding indictment to talk about next week, so.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're right about an hour.
We are.
Can I trouble you to take us out for the week, TGIF?
I'm going to take us out for the week. Any other shout outs? I don't think we have any other shout outs, do we? We got nothing.
To all
Football's back. Football's back.
my
So shout out to
beautiful family that I love, shout out.
Football is back.
But I can't watch it. I don't have anything that football comes across. I don't have ESPN. I don't have NFL. I got nothing.
I know, poor guy. My better half wishes she was with you because she's sitting on the couch yesterday and she just, because she's great at tuning out, but she went, "Oh my God, are you trying to tell me football is on next week?" And I'm like, Hall of Fame,
baby.
Hall of Fame game. But I'll take us out on this.
Okay.
I had one of my mentor recalls yesterday, and football came up right at the end of it. And I said, there's my better half doesn't know the Hall of Fame game is next week. I'm excited about that because that's the first football game of the year. And I shared with her the Hall of Fame ceremony. And I said, every year I get a little teary-eyed at the speeches. Now, granted, we're safe. Ellen, my better half, has marked herself safe, I think, from witnessing what I did with Michael Irvin, former wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. In my humble opinion, greatest Hall of Fame speech ever. And it's not even close. Michael Irvin had me bawling like a baby. That speech is out on YouTube for all those that might not have seen it. I've never cried like that on anything. And Michael Irvin had me crying like a baby, the entire speech. Why was that? Because it was from the heart. He poured his heart and soul. He didn't have anything written down. It came straight from the heart. And I've never cried at a professional athlete like I did that day.
I'm glad you put that qualifier in there, at a professional athlete. I have bawled my eyes out and I have been heartbroken and I have cried like a baby, but it's ain't got
Rarely, never has it been at a professional athlete. And that day, Michael Irvin's speech was so moving and emotional to me. I literally was uncontrollable.
I'm going to have to go watch this just so I can understand. What the hell are you talking about?
It will make you, if you have a soul.
That's pretty good, but I don't know that.
If you have a soul, it will touch you. If you have a soul.
Oh, wait a second. So you're saying if I'm not moved, I have no soul?
Yes.
I'm a white guy, so I have no soul. I think we're mutually agreed.
Yeah. So we'll see who,
but it's fungible, it's tangible.
We'll see who, and there hasn't been anyone that's come close in the years since Michael did that has brought that kind of reaction and response from me. Now, that's not to say when others have gone in, I get teary-eyed. I do, but nothing nowhere near like where I am unable to stop crying and control my emotions.
Well, this is pretty exciting, Marlon. I'm sorry to hear you're such a crybaby.
And I'm not. I never cry, and that's what my better half.
Oh my God.
My better half will tell you he cries at nothing. I've never seen him cry.
Professional athletes giving their
Only one, Michael Irvin. Okay. Only one. Hey, thank you for allowing us to come into your airwaves, and eye waves.
Singular.
We're for the moment on Twitter. We're on Spoutable and YouTube, First World, Third Rails. Hurry to Twitter and like us and follow us because we'll
it's
still
going
post.
dark, people.
We'll still post there. I just won't be active. You'll still find us there. Like us, love us, hate us, comment to us, and most importantly, please subscribe to us. We need your subscriptions because nobody knows us. Although that's changing. That's changing. I get people.
Do we
I
have
get-
8 subscribers?
I get people telling me, "Hey, Marlon, what's your podcast? I want to find it. I want to watch it." And I'm like, "We are who we are."
We be who we be. All
Go
right, bud.
Dodgers.
Well, listen, have a great weekend.
Enjoy pizza night.
I will.
Have a great weekend, and we'll catch everybody on the other side of the moon. Peace, brother.